When I think about what community is, when I think about what the church was for many people, I think about community as a service. I know so many people right now whose passion was media, and if it weren't for their church, they wouldn't be able to pursue that passion. I know so many people whose passion is music, and if it weren't for their church, they wouldn't have a place to practice that passion. I know people whose passion is communication and finding ways to inspire and motivate other people. And if it weren't for their churches, church shouldn't be the only place that meets those needs. It shouldn't be the only place that nurtures our gifts, platforms our voices, and empowers our living. That's why Bridge City Global is building community and creating the space to help you keep rising. Join us October 25th or the 26th in Venice or San Diego, your choice. Our local Bridge City community is having their initial liftoff weekend. And as a way of celebrating, we're hosting our very first Rise event. This is for you. We're about to shed the weight of limiting beliefs and open ourselves to clarity, purpose, and possibility. Through powerful voices and intentional community, you'll not only rediscover your own strength, but also the belonging that comes when we choose to rise side by side. And for those interested in being a part of this global community, go ahead and tap in now, and you may get an invite to our Friday evening and Sunday morning activities while you're in Cali. Don't miss this moment. Add Liftoff Weekend to your calendar and be ready to rise. Register now.
Take another shot at me.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Sunday Sessions. I'm Darante LaMar, and every week I host these conversations as a touch point for connection, inspiration, and growth. I am on an audacious mission to launch communities everywhere that gather weekly for real conversations just like these, free from superstition, free from coercion, and grounded in what makes us more human together. I show up every Sunday for three reasons. Number one, to host conversations that help, heal, or hit on what really matters to our community, to create spaces where people can gather, connect, and support each other, and to spark a fire in those of you who feel the call to speak, organize, and lead with purpose. My goal is to excite people about the idea of being a better way to connect by building community without superstition. And while today's conversation might feel like church at times, let me be absolutely clear. There are no appeals to deities, no demands for doctrine, and no request to believe what can't be demonstrated. Instead, you'll be encouraged to learn, laugh, and love freely while giving others the grace to do the exact same thing. That's the world-changing work we're building together at Bridge City. And if this is your first time with us, welcome in. Let us know where you're watching from so that our community can show you some love. Let's get into the session. When I think about what community is, when I think about what the church was for many people, I think about community as a service. I know so many people right now whose passion was media, and if it weren't for their church, they wouldn't be able to pursue that passion. I know so many people whose passion is music, and if it weren't for their church, they wouldn't have a place to practice that passion. I know people whose passion is communication and finding ways to inspire and motivate other people. And if it weren't for their churches,
Take another shot at me.
church shouldn't be the only place that meets those needs. It shouldn't be the only place that nurtures our gifts, platforms our voices, and empowers our living. That's why Bridge City Global is building community and creating the space to help you keep rising. Join us October 25th or the 26th in Venice or San Diego, your choice. Our local Bridge City community is having their initial liftoff weekend. And as a way of celebrating, we're hosting our very first Rise event. This is for you. We're about to shed the weight of limiting beliefs and open ourselves to clarity, purpose, and possibility. Through powerful voices and intentional community, you'll not only rediscover your own strength, but also the belonging that comes when we choose to rise side by side. And for those interested in being a part of this global community, go ahead and tap in now, and you may get an invite to our Friday evening and Sunday morning activities while you're in Cali. Don't miss this moment. Add Liftoff Weekend to your calendar and be ready to rise. Register now.
Take another shot at me.
Good morning, chat. How are y'all doing out there? It's so good to see so many of you out there already. Somebody said happy risers or good morning risers, and I was like, ooh, I like that. That kind of has a nice ring to it. But I hope y'all doing wonderful today. Did y'all see that? Prepare to see that a lot lately, because as you can see, if I lean over, Bridge City SoCal looks like it is in full effect. We are hosting our first event in Venice, LA, and San Diego, and it's because of the local community that's building there. Man, good morning, chat. Can the chat say can the chat say hell yeah? You know, can I get a hell yeah? That'll be our amen. Our amen will be hell yeah. It's appropriate. It works. Can the chat say hell yeah? Hallelujah or jalapeno? I think I like jalapenos better than hallelujahs any day. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for being here with us today. Thank y'all. I see it. I love it. I love it. Y'all beautiful people. I am going to acknowledge up front that today is going to be a little different. It's my oldest son's birthday today. My oldest son is 21 years old as of today. No, not 21. Dang, it's the 20. Today is the 21st. But he is 18 years old. And so I have now, I'm officially an old man. I have an 18-year-old, and interestingly enough, this week he had a accident that could have been worse. Flipped his truck over, so yikes. So I, just kind of made my commitment today that I'm going to do my best in this Sunday session, and then just spend the rest of the day with my family. We're already going to be losing them to college soon, and so I definitely want to spend as much time with them as possible. So today's flow will be a little different. It's his birthday. He survived this truck flipping over. He kind of deserves some attention. Can I get a hell yeah from the chat? He kind of deserves some attention. So that's why you saw last week's intro instead of me being fresh, and you're going to see the same thing for the end. But also, listen, I'm going to be pushing the hell out of this event that we're having in October, because the more I think of it, the more of a big deal I see that it is. The SoCal team is starting to get a real good steam on them as they're growing. Their Trello board is almost as crazy as my personal Trello board, so that's how I know we're on to something good. I just got some amazing compliments from different people or about different people on the team this week that blew my mind away. So I'm excited about where we are. And for those of you who've been sitting on the sidelines, who've been waiting and saying, I just need to see what it looks like first, let me tell you, your time is coming, because we have some people that are really, really running with this. And consequentially, I don't think I said that right, but we're gonna roll with it because I can do that. That's the beautiful thing about being a poet, and a person who just loves language. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do with words, and I do that a lot. You're welcome. Hope that helps. So today's conversation title, and we're gonna jump straight into this. I don't have a fancy intro. I'll try to give you a story as we're going along. But today's title is "There is a method to my madness." You know what I'm saying? Um, Actually, one day I do want to do an event called "There's a Method to My Manhood," just so I can invite Method Man. Literally, that's the only reason. But anyway, today we're going to be the conversation is "There's a Method to My Madness." Now, for those of you that have been hanging out with us for the past few weeks for this entire homecoming series, which is what I've kind of titled this, primarily because that's the season that this is in. My children are going through homecoming, but also because we're literally launching our first campus, creating something that will be home for many people. At least that's my hope. And so this is a homecoming. And as that's happening, people are having more and more questions. Okay, what are we actually inviting people to come home to? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like everybody's house. As a person who grew up in a very dysfunctional family, I've lived with a lot of different people. So I've been in a lot of different homes. And so one thing I can say for sure is that every home ain't my home. And so what does that even mean? And I can remember, as especially, having to live with people that you didn't really know, you're living with people that you had never met before, you find out real quick that every house has different rules. Every house has different. Oh, so y'all don't like to just dip your finger in the peanut butter and get it out that way? Oh, I didn't know that's how I'm just playing. No, I'm not playing. That was me as a kid, for real. I bite the hell out of some cheese when I was a kid. And you're like, now who just put these dang bite marks in the cheese? It was me. That was me doing that. But anyway, so one of the things that one of the questions we're getting a lot is, okay, like, I'm excited about this, and the part of that is I do my best to make it exciting. You saw the intro. It's on purpose. You hear me talk in real life, I ain't that exciting. I'd be sitting here talking like Eeyore and stuff. Hey everybody, how you doing today? I'm only exciting on paper. But no, what I am trying to do is get people excited about the idea of being community. And as people are getting excited about it, there are questions like, what is the community? And, of course, now I've put all of my little hard work into building that course for y'all, BC 101, for y'all to get through. But many of you have already been very honest with me. You just be like, I'm not about to read all of that. And I'm like, damn, I tried to make it as short as I could. But no, I really do get it, because I think I had been stressing this since last year. I know for sure since February, when I started restructuring a lot of things for the channel. But I can make a ton of different things. It ain't gonna mean nothing until we actually have people in there who are interacting with each other. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the method to the madness, what's important. And I do have a story for it. Now, look at it. I thought I wasn't going to have a fancy introduction. As a child who grew up in the late 80s and the early 90s, that's my childhood right there. Which is like the golden era of movies, right? Golden era of television. It is. There was a franchise called The Karate Kid. Okay, called The Karate Kid, and there was this mystical elderly man, like a mentor figure, and we used to call him Mr. Miyagi. Now, I haven't actually watched the movie in a very long time, but I remember when he was training Daniel's son, and then when he was training Hilary Swank's son. I don't remember her character's name, but that's how we're going to do that there. But when he was training Daniel's son, because Daniel was getting his ass beat a lot. And, what I want you to do is I want some of you to picture yourself as Daniel. Life has been kicking your ass, okay? You're Daniel. Oh, damn, this is good. This got good. Like, I didn't plan this. This got good. So you're Daniel. Life has been kicking your ass. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not Mr. Miyagi, all right? We're going to say Bridge City Global is Mr. Miyagi, right? Oh, damn, I'm stripping in front of y'all. Let me put that button back together. Y'all don't need to see the goodies. All right, so Bridge City Global is Mr. Miyagi, right? And so you, Danielson, show up saying, hey, life is kicking my ass every way but sideways, man. Every way except for the way that I like to be kicked. And I like to be kicked sometimes. You know, you say life is kicking my ass in all the wrong ways. And then you come in contact with Mr. Miyagi's son, Bridge City son, you know. Dang, why does it sound like Dave Chappelle when I do it that way? Okay, but you come in contact with Bridge City, and Bridge City says, okay, are you ready? Wax on, wax off. Okay, wait a minute. But I said life is kicking my ass. Why are you showing me a way to wash a damn car, man? Like, I'm telling you, life is kicking my ass. And Bridge City is saying, talk to more people, join a group. It's like, nah, this don't make no sense. No, baby, wax on, wax off. Would somebody put in the chat there's a method to the madness? And if you're too bougie, you ain't got to put that. Just let me get a hell yeah in the chat, and we'll keep on doing what we're doing. But the point is, if you learn how to wax on and wax off, it ain't got to make sense right now, but you're building muscles, okay? So one of the biggest things that I'm pushing right now, like y'all know, I think almost, because this is homecoming, right? If it's gonna be home, we got to talk to each other, okay? We got to talk to each other. I'm like that with my kids in real life. Now, so damn it, all y'all just gonna talk to me? Is that so? That's what's gonna happen. We just all gonna look at me and just talk to me? No, we're gonna have to talk to each other, turn and look at each other every now and then. If we was in church, I tell you, turn and look at your neighbor and say, talk to me, god damn it. Okay, come and talk to me. I really want, I don't know the words, can I talk to you? You know, all man, there's so many legendary R&B songs out there that are based on communication and understanding. What I need from you is okay, you know what I'm saying? Can we talk? You baby, you know, that's what I'm pushing at Bridge City Global. And I mean, all across the globe is like, hey, can we talk? Can you talk to each other? And I know people, why you keep saying that? It's because that's the wax on and that's the wax off. Listen, the more you talk to each other, the more you grow with each other. The more you talk to each other, the more you learn about each other. And not even just the more you learn about each other, the more you learn about yourself. Have you ever been in a conversation was like, damn, I didn't know that aggravated the fuck out of me. I know now, though. I know, not would have never imagined that some shit like that would have aggravated the fuck out of me. But now that I've had this conversation with you, I know that's a pet peeve for me. Thank you for showing me something about myself. Wax on, wax off. There are problems that you think that, you know, I can handle this easily, and then you don't even know this is some shit that would trigger you in some ways that will cause you to harm other folk. But by building these conversations, you start building these muscles. Wax on, wax off. That's what I should have named the damn message today. I'm sorry, I'm cussing a little too much, but I'm feeling good because my son is safe, okay? I'm feeling good. All right. So the big point is there's a method to the madness. Is this good, chat? Can I get a hell yeah from the chat? Let the chat say hell yeah. Jalapenos. Jalapenos. All right, so let's jump into this. There's a method to the madness. I said that's what we're talking about today. And so, and for those of you who don't know, if you're new, or if you're just new to the series, this is BC 101. I'm giving you a little bit of something from BC 101. And as Ashley said, I'm just throwing some fire on it, you know, and I'm giving that to her because she said it first. And I just like, oh yeah, that's dope. That's dope. But this is literally just BC 101 because I've talked to many of you. I'm going to pick at you when I do it, but I've talked to many of you and you've been like, listen, man, I can't get through that course. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want it to be hard for you. You know, that's why I made the course. I made the course for the people who said, hey, the brochure is too much. I said, okay, I'll make the course. I was even working on adding some videos, but the point is it don't get better till we get more people. So I got to do the work to make it more appetizing. So every time you tell me like this ain't enough, I go back to the drawing board and I be like, all right, what we got to do? What we got to do? Me and Robert was talking about this week, and Robert said, man, why don't we just put together a manifesto? And I said, okay, cool. I can turn the 4 modules into 4 paragraphs that get straight to the point. This is what we do. Here's something for you to know so people can get involved and we can eventually get the right type of leadership team. Can I get a leadership in the chat? Somebody type leadership. We need leaders. Hallelujah. Jalapenos are better than hallelujahs. All right. Jalapenos. There's a joke there. There's a few jokes there. Okay. So big point. I don't know because the jalapenos threw me away. So I got to come back. I got to come back. But there's a method to the madness. So how do we do this? How do we come together? Leadership. Thank you. So I'm glad I said somebody asked y'all to type it in the chat. Leadership. Dang, we need leaders. And that's what we get. Like what you're seeing in SoCal is happening because of leadership. And leadership, this is sheesh, hiya. This is why I want to help people at when it comes to leadership. Okay. There are two types of leadership. There is you leading yourself, and there is you leading some type of ship. All right. Those are the two types of leadership. One is you're the ship, and the other one is there's something else that is the ship. And so the exciting thing about leadership is like if there's a journey you're wanting to take, if there's a journey you're wanting to take in life, but you know you're not equipped, you're not equipped to lead the navigation system. The beauty about leadership is that once they get in place, it don't even matter if you ready or not. Y'all, I am talking better than y'all responding. When the leadership gets in place, when people get in place and say, look, I may not know how to do much, but I do know how to drive this ship. I may not know how to do much, but I do know how to fix that engine. I may not know how to do much, but I do know how to keep people engaged and keep them excited and keeping them want to talk. When you get people who are in leadership in place, it makes it easier for you to exist regardless of where your qualifications are, because now you can coast along with everybody else. God damn it. So this is why I get excited anytime leaders show up, because again, that's what's happening in SoCal. Because leaders showed up, it's now allowing other people in SoCal to find out what it is that they want to do and commit. So again, I'll go back. Y'all gonna hear Robert's name so much, prepare to be sick of me. So Robert tapped in, and then he tapped in, and then he was willing to do that thing that I be challenging everybody to do, and that's to call other folk. And so he called some other folk, and then he put them in the WhatsApp group and said, here's the thing. If Robert didn't get in position, y'all don't want to talk. Y'all don't want to talk because some of y'all don't want to talk because you're probably like, who is Robert? I don't know him. Boy, you better look him up. This is why you need to get to Southern California. This is why you need to be in San Diego. This is why you need to be in Venice/LA. I'm not from the area, so I don't know how those codes work, but you know what it is. You need to get there. You need to know who Robert is. You need to know what's going on with our SoCal team. Excuse me, didn't want to cough in the mic. But because Robert tapped in, now I got this. Oh man, Ashley, forgive me, but I got this beast of a person on the team now called Ashley. And I mean, like, I don't know. Like one of the other people on the team who not even in California, he like, dude, where she come from? But that happens when people get in position. Damn it. None of this is in my notes. None of this is in my notes. None of this is in my notes. But that waxing on, that waxing off. That waxing on, that waxing off, all of a sudden, the only thing you're doing is working the muscle of learning how to communicate with other people, learning how to have conversations in an environment that actually, in an environment that actually prioritizes your personal growth and community development. So that waxing on, waxing off, just the conversations themselves eventually lead you over into a situation where you done waxed on and waxed off your way into a better job, where eventually you done waxed on or waxed off your way into a better relationship, where eventually you done waxed on and waxed off your way into a better opportunity. Can I get a wax on and a wax off, or even a hell yeah or some jalapenos? But somebody let me know that your boy is talking this morning, evening. I don't know where it is. It depends on where you are. Oh, that was supposed to be the introduction. Damn. So there's a method to the madness. It starts with the conversations. Yes. But then there's a rhythm. Okay. Rhythm matters. What happens when you stop waiting for big breakthroughs and start building steady rhythms? Okay. What happens when you stop waiting for a breakthrough and start building the rhythms that get you there? Now, I've talked to y'all about this before. Like, I have a thing that I started using for my life that I called the mastermind model, because in 2017, when I look back over my own life, because I was perplexed, like, bruh, why are you always broke? Like, there's just not been a time where broke has not been your dwelling place. What is going on? Like, this was seriously where I was. It wasn't even, I'm making it sound funny now because, hey, bro, you got to laugh to keep from crying. But I was living in a single wide trailer with me, my wife, and our 4 kids. And it was one of those trailers where I had jumped up one time, and when I landed, I didn't land. I went straight through that motherfucker. And then my feet is down there under the trailer, and I'm a little OCD, and I don't know what the hell is up under that trailer. And it's that moment that, hey, bro, things got to change. Life can't keep resetting for you over and over and over again. What in the world is going on? So I started asking myself, dealing with myself, what's going on? What are you missing? And I'm like, big story, long story short is I said, bruh, you out here living like you have a support system. You're out here living like just one day magically, support is going to show up. And that's just, you don't have that life. You've been an orphan your whole life and you still trying to pretend like you not. I was like, oh, that's just too much. That's a Iyanla fix your life moment. And it's like, oh, damn, you right, bruh. I got to finally start living like the orphan that I am. I know that's hard for some people. That's heavy for some people. I get it. But no, I realized like, hey, bro, you can't treat life as you thought it should be. You got to recognize life as it is and navigate accordingly. And so I realized I got to build routines. I have to build a rhythm into my life that actually gets me toward the things that I want. That's when I built my mastermind model. I built my mastermind model out of that. I said, okay, you know what? Anything that represents, watch this, anything that represents what I don't want in my life, I'm going to stop digesting it. I'm make sure that's not my primary diet. Okay. So if I'm looking at my life and I'm like, okay, let me look at the time I was emotionally volatile, and I was financially destitute. And then I was looking at my media reception, what I'm engaging with, and so I'm like, damn, a lot of people in the shows that I watch and in the movies that I choose are emotionally volatile and financially destitute. You know what I'm saying? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna start trimming that shit out of my diet. I'm going to purposefully look for some stuff where the people are as healthy as they can be. Like what was the one with the family? They wasn't healthy, but damn it, they was better than mine. But I'm going to look for stuff that actually aligns with what I'm trying to get out of life. That's all right. So that's why these rhythms become important. I'm not supposed to have a lot of notes. I'm not supposed to have a lot of notes today. This isn't supposed to be going this long. I'm actually supposed to be wrapping up, but this got better than I thought it was going to be. All right. So in a world of constant distraction, attention is a precious resource, and consistency then is a radical act. When you choose to be consistent about tying your attention to something that is for your benefit, man, that is a radical act. So Bridge City offers a weekly rhythm that prioritizes presence, reflection, and growth without relying on religious obligation or fear of missing out, which is exactly what everybody who's tuned into this now, whether you're watching now or later, that's what everybody's participating in. Every time you participate in Sunday sessions, you are participating in a weekly rhythm that prioritizes reflection, that prioritizes presence, that prioritizes your personal growth and your development and finding ways to use that to impact community. Our core weekly rhythm, these Sunday sessions, it gives us a space to pause and reflect, a community to engage with, a moment to reset our intentions, a shared experience that strengthens our bonds. It's not just an event, it's a pulse. It reminds us we're still here, we're still building, and we're not alone. Long before long before we had even the possibility of anything jumping off locally anywhere, it's these Sunday sessions that reminded people that it's still a possibility. Someone's still championing this idea, and there's still a place for me to check in weekly when I can, when I want to. You know what I'm saying? This is literally one of the most powerful aspects of community. I'm going to steal something from Robert here. He didn't share this with me personally. I meant to actually add the title of this in my notes, but Robert spoke at an event a few years ago and was talking about, how to navigate through the chaos. And he gave this illustration, and he probably gonna be mad at me because I keep bringing it back up to him because it was so good. I think in our last meeting or the meeting before that, I brought it up because I was like, it's so good. He should be saying it, but I'm gonna say it, and I'll try to get him on here so he can say it too. But he just gave this illustration. He was like, he was watching one of the Batman movies. I'm assuming it was the Christopher Nolan Batmans because that's where my mind goes to. But he's watching one of the Batman movies. because it's not Batman's movies. It's got to be the Batman movie. But then he's no longer Batman. Okay, I'm sorry, neurospicy moment. I'm back. But he's watching one of the Batman movies, and Batman is up there on the top, and he's looking down, and there's just a whole bunch of frenzy going all down, and everybody's going chaotic. And Batman is above the frenzy. He's above the fray. He's not in it. He's above it. And that could preach all by itself. Keep rising. He's not in it. He's above it. Can I say keep rising one more time? He's not in it. He's above it. And I was when Robert was telling his story, man, I was glued to check. I'm like, where's he going with this? Well, because like, why is Batman up there? And that's the question he was asking. And I'm like, okay. And he says, why is he up there? And he says he finally gets it. He's up there because he's preparing. He's up there because he's centering. He's up there because he's assessing the situation so that he doesn't just have to run into this thing blind, so that he can go into it with the strategy. You know, Batman always has a contingency plan. That's his real superpower. His real superpower is already having a contingency plan. And I want to tell somebody today that that's actually your real superpower. Bridge City Global can be your real superpower. It can be that place that you check into weekly to get above it. It can be that place that you check in weekly to get above it all, so you can spend some time with yourself getting a better view, a better perspective, a better picture of what it is that you're dealing with, so that when you dive back into action, you're fully equipped. But the good news is you're not having to dive back in by yourself. You'll have the full weight of community behind you. Boy, y'all don't want to talk to me. It ain't just Batman, man. It's the Justice League and the Avengers and everybody all together. That's the power of community. And then sure, that people are looking at us like right now, like, what are they doing? See, I'm still in Robert's stuff right now. They're looking at us like, what are they doing over there? What are they doing? Why are they meeting together on Sundays? Why are they working to build local campuses? What are they doing? We're getting a better view. We're getting a better perspective. We're painting a better picture. We are building a better bridge. Y'all, can I get a hell yeah from the chat? God dang, this is good. Okay. Dang it. Oh man, Robert, I wish I would have had time today, because that link, the link from that talk needs to be in the chat. Just type in Robert Richmond chaos. It's going to lead you there. Please go watch it. All right. So in a world that pulls you in every direction, rhythm brings you home. Okay. There's sometimes people feel like they're disconnected from everything that's happening, and then they get here on a Sunday. And it's like, oh, shit, I don't even know these people. And they starting to feel like family. And ain't nobody asked me to change nothing about what I believe. Ain't nobody asked me to change what I wear. Literally, ain't nobody asked me to change nothing. To be honest, more people ask me to change than I ever asked anybody to do anything, you know? Because that's what this weekly rhythm is about. It's not about control. It's about purposeful connection. Creating places, creating these weekly touch points where people can be reminded that there's still humanity in this world, that there's some of us who exist as fucked up as we are, and we all got some fucked up, but we all doing good. We can all do good, you know? And see, the thing is, rhythm compounds. One session may spark a thought. A few weeks may build confidence. A few months may transform how you see yourself and your place in the world. And that's not hype. That's what happens when connection is consistent, intentional, and inclusive. The power of community isn't what we do once. It's in what we return to together. Bridge City's weekly rhythm isn't about performance. It's about practice. And practice builds people who are whole, grounded, and growing. Progress is not always measured. Sometimes it's felt, man. You might not always see your own growth, but if you feel safer to ask hard questions, if you feel more grounded in your voice, if you feel connected to others walking a similar path, or maybe you just feel less alone in your journey, that's progress. And it's deep. That's the waxing on, waxing off, you know, because you came here because life is kicking your ass, and you want to find a way to kick back. And Bridge City wants to teach you a way to kick back. But even if I taught you how to kick, If you don't get confidence in yourself, excuse me, if you don't get confidence in yourself, that kick will never deliver. That's why the wax on and the wax off is important. Bridge City wants to help you get confident where you are so you can grow into what you could be. Oh, man. In a world that measures everything by output, we measure presence as a sign of integrity and care and courage. You know what? I don't get it, but I'm going to wax on and wax off because I care. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. I really want us to get to a place as a species where until we can prove that such a thing exists, that we just get that word and that expectation out of our minds. Like that's probably one of the most liberating things for my deconstruction. I have no expectations of perfection on anybody. Hell, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. My wife and I joke all the time because you always see something on television where you see like somebody was running a illegal sex ring or something in their basement or some shit like that, and they live in a well-to-do neighborhood, and the neighbors come out and said, "Oh, I just would have never, I could have never imagined." I could see it. I could see it. People are people, man. People are people. So, but anyway, I didn't mean to take it there. The point is that you got to remove that perfection pressure off of yourself. You don't need that to be powerful. It's present. Present is where the power is, right? So Bridge City isn't waiting on someone else to change the world. We're building that change together, one grounded presence at a time. See, now if you were taking this online, if you were in, this would be module 3, you'd have a forum, and the question would be, what does showing up mean to you? So you can see what showing up means to me. I'm learning what showing up means to Robert. I'm learning what showing up means to Ashley. I'm learning what showing up means to Kyle and different people. What does showing up means to you? In a digital first world, weekly rhythms bring grounding, connection, and clarity. Bridge City uses weekly community experiences not to demand participation, but to invite transformation. Progress isn't about pressure, it's about presence. And presence, practiced consistently, changes everything. The proof of that is we started doing these last year in March, every Sunday. See, that's when I say, like, the wax on, the wax off. Not only have I proof tested, this stuff before deconverting, but I've also been proof testing it for the last year. And I almost say it almost every Sunday. I do this to model what it looks like. So when people ask me, like, "Hey, what should we do on our Sunday campuses?" This for your Sunday sessions, for your Bridge City weekends, it's going to be this. It's going to be this. And I mean, it could be me on the screen, or it could be someone there in real life, but it's going to be this. And you're going to rotate it out sometimes, but you're going to build things up. That's how you build the routine of participation, where now you can get into where community is co-creation. All right. So community is a creative collaboration. When people speak from curiosity and care, wisdom doesn't just appear, it emerges. Okay. Because building intentional community reveals a few key things. And this is good. All right. The first thing that you find out about building community, and oh my goodness, please, if you're a note taker, this is something to write down. It's so simple, but it's so true. If you're not a note taker, maybe you're one of those people who absorb by leaning in. So let's lean in, just lean in. I can see you, motherfucker. Lean in. Thank you. I'm just playing. But you lean in, write this down, absorb this, whatever you need to do. Everyone brings something. Everyone. Good, bad, and uncomfortable. Literally everyone who shows up is bringing something to the table, even when they're not trying to, even when they're not aware. I've been saying this probably for the past year and a half, that one thing you have to understand about community, which is why I don't spend a lot of time talking about what it could be other than the impact that it can have, is that every community's identity is shaped by the members of that community, because everybody brings something. There's nobody who's engaging with your community who is not impacting that community. And that's something that everybody has to be mindful of. Even on days you're not trying to bring your drama to the community, your drama is showing up with you. That's just how community works. It's an all-inclusive type of thing, all of you comes in with that. A community, like any organization, corporation, etc., is a body. It is one unified system composed of many diversified members with varying and even contrasting points of contribution and engagement. And the goal of community is recognizing that this co-creation is happening whether we like it or not. We're either working together to make it better, or we're working together to make it uncomfortable. Whether we like it or not, just by being at the table, we're bringing something to the table. And so it is our goal to intentionally look for ways to get the most out of this process. There was a clip that I wanted to play. But I didn't have time to pull it. I don't know what's been going on with my signal lately around the house. So, but there was this clip from a movie. I don't know how many of you have seen it. It's a classic for Black families from the South, but it's called The Five Heartbeats. Okay. The Five Heartbeats is this lovely little tale of romance and music. But there's this scene where they're singing this song, nights like this, I wish that raindrops would fall. See, now if we was at Bridge City, SoCal right now, or maybe Bridge City, Atlanta, and I wanted to, that's right, you know what the band would have did? Boom, 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 boom. But because it's in a live setting and not a concert setting, see, I was about to drop some knowledge. I'm gonna leave it alone. All right, so they're singing this song in the movie, right? And then there's two brothers, is Duck and JT. I had to make sure I can remember their names. And Duck and JT, they're also on the same singing group. Duck write all the songs, you know what I'm saying? And JT is just a ladies' man. You know, for those of you who don't know, he's the same person that played David Ruffin in The Temptations, and he played Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy, Little Richard in the name of movie of the same name. But so they dancing side by side, and you know, one is like, "Hey, bro, I'm really tired of you wearing all of my damn clothes and shit." You know, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the line. And like, "What you mean? I ain't been wearing your clothes." And he was like, "Bro, you been wearing my shit." And so then they twisting around each other, and then for whatever reason, Duck snapped, and Duck ain't even the violent one. Duck snapped and ripped old boy's like arm sleeve off, not his real arm, y'all, but just the sleeve, ripped the sleeve off, and they supposed to be performing. This is during them in the middle of a performance. How rude. And so then old boy was like, "Oh, okay, that's how you gonna do." And he's still dancing, and he spin around, and he slapped the other dude in the side of the head on accident because he thought he was slapping Duck. And then he ripped Duck stuff, and then him and Duck go back and forth, and then Duck and JT, now they rolling on the floor, and his manager and the dance coordinator is standing on the back of the stage, and the dance coordinator, like, he's flabbergasted. And then he says, and I think I did type the notes in my line. He says, in the middle of seeing his folk rolling on that stage in front of everybody, this is obviously embarrassing. This is obviously a moment where communication was missed, right? This was obviously something where there is a bad connection. This is obviously where hey, bro, man, did not get the message. And most people are responding the most natural and normal way to respond. Oh my, you know, just very shocked and flabbergasted and all that other stuff. But the manager, and we're going to look at the manager today as community. The community looked at that. Bridge City Global looked at that. Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off, looked at that and said, "Yeah, I gotta teach them how to use everything they do." I just got to teach them how to use everything that they do. That's community. Community doesn't run away from conflict. You got to find a way to use it. You got to find a way to use it. You got to find a way to learn from. No, I got to teach them how to. But man, they just had a full fight on stage. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and we learned from it. We're gonna reduplicate that fight next week, and then we're gonna add a little twist to it. Community is created not just by the way we celebrate, but by the way that we hold tension, by the way that we respond to conflict, by the opportunities that we actually look for. Are we always looking to hang somebody, or are we really looking to help somebody? I'm preaching better than y'all responding. Let me get a jalapeno or a hell yeah in the chat, man. And now Infidel done mentioned, and we haven't finished yet in the chat. And I am really tempted not to sing the whole damn song right here, you know. But like, I can't even remember the first words though. I just remember her saying, all you gotta do is put this part with this part. And she did, and I was like, man. And then I found out Patty sing the part on the album, and I was like, what? Okay. No matter how hard it gets, yeah. See, you done got it stuck in my head. You done got stuck in my head. Thank you. Yes, I actually enjoyed that movie. All right. So it also impacts how we live in the reality of imperfection and create space for redirection, right? So when you do realize, okay, we got some imperfections at the table, let's redirect this. I don't know if you've ever planned a wedding before. If you've ever had to plan a wedding where you got family members who don't like each other, like the most frustrating part of the job is table assignment, seat assignment, who's going to sit next to who. But the best wedding planners in the world, they learn that joint like it's kung fu. No, you put Aunt Maybell on this side and make sure Aunt Ruby is all the way over there. Put her as close to the other side of the family as possible so that her and Maybell don't even see each other, because child, if they do, and then you know Uncle Slickback always like to be messing with folk that he ain't supposed to be messing with. So let's make sure we keep him, as far away from the ring bearers and the flower children as possible. They got to work through all of that. That is community. That is community. It's like the wedding planner, the person who has to value everybody attending the event, even though they don't always value each other. Woo. But you got to make space for everybody. That's leadership, y'all. Dang, that's good. Okay, we're going to come back to that. That's just too good. All right. Another thing that co-creating community helps immediately brings to focus is that authority is a social illusion. When you're a part of something that's co-creative, you begin to realize that there really is no single authority in anything. There's just shared responsibility. The myth of one great person always seems to overlook the teams of people who made it happen. There is no great captain without a great crew. And this doesn't require authority. There's no authority here. There's an understanding that leads to an embracing of responsibility that requires a leadership level of commitment. So, for example, I live in an HOA, a homeowners association, and we have a lot of rules. I don't know most of those rules. I've never read the book. I don't own my house here, so I get to be treated differently. But we got a lot of rules. But those rules are not actually about anyone's authority, right? I don't not play loud music because my HOA director says not to. I don't do it because I have an understanding that it would be disruptive to my neighbors, which would not create a good experience for me. And therefore, I embrace the responsibility to monitor my volume for my own sake. Is that good, y'all? So we have a shared responsibility, my neighbors and I. It's not an authority figure. The person that gets elected to handle the HOA stuff, yeah, that's administrative shit. That's it's almost like legislative stuff. Not even legislative. That's just too deep. But so as tired as I am right now, and I am tired, man. One of the most encouraging things is watching other people start taking on responsibilities. When someone takes on a responsibility, you're probably gonna hear me talk about it a lot. The names you hear me mention are people, yeah, I'll do something. That's what keeps people from falling through the cracks. That's what encourages me when our community sees this as a ship where we all have a shared responsibility. When responsibility is shared, communities thrive. Shared responsibility transforms small actions into major outcomes. For example, 5 volunteers to handle all BC global related phone calls would absolutely change the game right now. Now, imagine many of you have tapped in. Maybe you've joined Patreon or the YouTube membership program. Maybe you give through PayPal, CashApp, or Venmo. Maybe you filled out one of those old forms that's still hiding out somewhere that no one's checking right now because they don't know where they are. And within a day of tapping in, imagine, because we know this is not what has happened historically. Now you get an email, and that's nice. But prior to this moment, you haven't really been able to get anything, because if you would have, it would have had to come from me. But if we had 5 volunteers right now, and then anytime someone tapped in, Anytime someone taps in, fills out a form, gives, imagine within a day, getting a phone call. Someone says, "Hey, my name is Mike Jr. with Bridge City Global, and we just saw that you tapped in. I wanted to reach out to you to answer any questions and help you get acclimated into the community." That's game changing. But for most people, they see that as something small. That's too small. And I'm like, that's waxing on. That's waxing off. Man, that's not small. That's major. Some of you right now, you could probably just think about how that would have made you feel like, damn. Every Sunday, you know? Imagine another 5 volunteers. If every Sunday after our online sessions, let's say you're in here for the first time and you're like, damn, this is my first Sunday. This is so dope. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but this is so dope. And let's just say at the end, after every Sunday, at the end, right when I got finished talking, somebody else jumped on the screen. Hey, everybody, my name is Keisha. Guess what? Right after this, if you want to know more about Bridge City Global and how we're doing what we do, you can join us over in the Discord for a 30-minute conversation. Ask any questions you want about Bridge City Global, and we're going to be here to answer them for you. And if you want to know how you can join, we're going to answer those questions for you. And if you want to know how you can volunteer, we're going to answer those questions for you. Those are small things. Wax on, wax off. That's the method to the madness. You know, that's the method to the madness. This is the waxing on and waxing off. It seems small, but it makes the vision possible, sustainable, and beneficial. It's not about getting everyone to the same conclusion, which is what so many people try to do. And I'm like, why? No, quite honestly, this might bother some of y'all, but quite honestly, I don't give a fuck about anybody else's conclusions that has no utility in my life. I don't even spend my time talking to other people about their conclusions if those conclusions have no utility. You will never see me going up to anybody, well, what do you think about the universe? I don't care what some random person thinks about the universe. It has no utility for me. You know, it's not about getting everyone to the same conclusion. Not for this work. There is work that's the requirement. But for the work of community, no. I don't care about your conclusions. Ain't nobody asking you to present your conclusions on the platform. Now, that's the only way where I'm curious about your conclusions if you want to present them on the platform. But the goal is not about others' conclusions. It's about helping them find their point of contribution. We're not trying to create echo chambers where we all believe the same thing, say the same thing, walk the same walk, and talk the same talk. No, we're creating ecosystems, places where thought, emotion, and experience and behavior interact and evolve. Is this good, y'all? Dang. The goal is to get people from spectating to shaping, you know, to practice participation. Practice participation. Bridge City needs some big things. Bridge City Global needs some big things. All right. The highest position, if you will, or the highest function, other than me, that feels weird. But the highest function in Bridge City Global will be a Bridge City Global liaison. That's the highest position, right? In the Bridge City Global framework. That person, and actually, like at now, whatever person ends up fulfilling that function, that position will be the easiest now than it ever will be as we grow. It'll be because right now that position will literally just be talking to everybody who taps in to host or lead a local Bridge City community. Actually, I'm underselling it. They also have to work on the whole licensing program and stuff too. So that's a whole nother other thing. But no, that's like one of the high positions that really, really high for a local Bridge City campus, to be, you know, somewhat official for us to feel like, okay, they're running. They need 2 positions. They need a campus lead and an operations lead at basis. And that doesn't mean they're running. If they have those 2, that means they have a chance. If they have, they're running when they have a music lead, families lead, and stuff like that as well. But those are really big roles. Those are roles that require high touch. Those are roles that require a lot of time investment. And those roles are very important. but they are not the most important roles, you know? I could fill all of those roles tomorrow, theoretically. I couldn't. If I could, they would be. If I could fill all of those roles tomorrow, I promise you they'd be filled. It's almost like somebody say, I could be making $150,000 a year if it weren't for y'all. And I'm like, trust me, if you could, y'all don't. I switched to mastermind. I'm sorry. I'm back. Bridge City's back. We're not going to bring the coach in today. Lead the coach. Lead the coach at home. Lead the coach at home. And so the things that people think because something doesn't have a title or because something doesn't have a responsibility, a heavy weight of responsibility that you don't have to punish yourself to do it, then it's not important. But having people to be those touch points for other people is one of the most valuable thing that you can ever do for any type of community. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you, one of the reasons the movie industry is failing, movie theaters, is because they don't have good ushers no more. Good ushers mean everything. Y'all just don't understand. Hospitality is everything. All right, so growth doesn't happen all at once. So a few volunteers who value points of contacts would change the game, like right now. Now, and the sad thing, it's scary though. That's scary because that would not remove the need for leadership. It would just create a more overwhelming situation. Then we'd be technically growing faster because we'd be retaining more and still not having enough people to interact with each other. All right. So confidence is built through experience, right? Leadership is not is discovered, not assigned. You know, nobody can make you a leader. That's a decision you make. And the approach that I typically take with it is I encourage people to just become. I do view a world. I want to see a world where everybody's leaders. And most like, how is that possible? Well, just everybody need to be leading themselves. That's where I see. Why else would I spend so much time talking about autonomy and agency and authenticity if the goal is not for people to lead themselves? As we used to say in the old Baptist church, to govern themselves accordingly. That's the goal, you know. The best communities are shaped by contributors, not consumers. And participation is the practice space where all that happens, gently, gradually, and together. As we participate with each other, we shift from being just consumers of consumers of content to crafters of community, you know? So in your first few weeks, participation might mean observing quietly, responding to a prompt in the chat. Like when I say, let me get a hell yeah, you be like, hell yeah, then. That's participation, you know? That's participation. It counts. It counts. It's good. It's good. There are many different levels of participation when it comes to community. There's some things you do that are helping the channel. So, of course, every time you share, wink. Am I winking right? Every time you share or subscribe, it just looks kind of threatening, a little menacing now. Shouldn't do it that way. All right. But that may evolve into something like hosting a session, you know, helping behind the scenes. Right now, because SoCal is doing work together, it's creating opportunity for the people in the local area to contribute in different ways that you can't really do online. So, for example, somebody's cooking for us on Friday night. Now, if you're coming to California for the Rise event, you need to tap in. And if you tap in at level of leader or host, you might get to get some of that good food. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Doing that wink again. All right. So it could just be supporting others, you know, but all of these ways that you participate, you're not expected to do it all at once, but you're invited to grow into it at your own pace in your own way. Now, part of that is people got to shake the fear of permanence, right? Permanence is one of the things that make people so risk averse to trying anything. The idea becomes, oh, well, if I try this, they're going to expect me to do it forever. Okay. And I'm like, I know that's how people used to treat people, but it didn't make sense then either. Okay. People who expect that are a little bit off their rocker and should get off of it a little bit. But no, the expectation shouldn't be that anything you sign up to, this is what I have to do forever. especially if it's something, well, even if it isn't, but especially if it's something you've never done before. So you have every right and the freedom to approach things like, I think I might try this for a while. Hey, you know what, Darante? I keep hearing you talking about people calling folks. I'll sign up to call some folks for a while. I'm not going to give you a contract and be like, all right, I need the next 6 years of your life calling people every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or you die. Like, even if I did try to give you that contract, don't sign it. And even if you did sign it, just rip it up. Never let anybody take your freedom, even if they've created laws that make it legal to do so. All right, that's just a little fun fact. But it's about you exploring, and that's the beautiful thing. You have the freedom to figure out what you want to do. And so, of course, again, as we get more local campuses established, it makes it easier. So again, like the person who's volunteering to cook, that's not something they can really volunteer to do for Sunday sessions right now. So if there's somebody right now and like cooking may be your love language or whatnot, and you're like, I would really love to cook for Sunday sessions, but you'd have to like cook it like 3 weeks in advance and mail it out, and we'd all have to get it at different times. There's a lot going on. But the big point is a bunch of ways to participate, and it's really just showing up in ways that help your community in response to ways that your community helps you. And when we do this empowers us all. Like, it's not just community muscles. This really ends up empowering us for muscles in real life. Just showing up ends up helping you speak more clearly, listen more deeply, trust your voice more, handle disagreement with grace, and collaborate in ways that don't drain but energize. See, these aren't just community skills, they're life skills, and they're sharpened through participation. Participation is more than just helping out, it's how you become. At Bridge City, your involvement is welcomed, encouraged, and honored as a practice of presence. It's your priority to take that presence and make it mean something for your life. It's your priority, especially as we continue to grow, as these campuses continue to grow. It's your priority, your right, your responsibility to look for ways that say, hey, how can I support my community while getting the best from my community? What is something that I can be a part of that really aligns with who I am and what I want to bring to the world? Damn, this is good. So we grow closer, not just by sitting together, but by building together. Many people associate community with presence, just showing up, being seen, and being welcomed. And that matters. But what often creates real bonding, the kind that sticks, is shared contribution. This is the wax on and the wax off, just doing stuff together. Belonging doesn't just come from being included. Hear me well. It comes from being involved. At Bridge City, I find that collaboration is one of the most powerful engines of connection because it invites you to move with people towards something meaningful for the entire group. When you collaborate with others, you begin to experience deeper trust, greater empathy, and even real agency, right? And this contributes to lasting belonging by giving you space that needs you, not just anyone. See, at that moment, that's not just community, that's co-creation. The more you get to know what other people bring to the table, the more excited you are about them being at the table. Like, oh, I didn't know you can cook them greens like that. So you've been sitting here this whole time and you could have cooked greens like that, and you didn't put the greens on the menu. That's healthy friction right there. That's when you got a Martin and Will Smith type of conversation. Next time I come up here and them greens ain't on that table, it's going to be a problem between me and you. It's the opposite of spiritual consumerism. It's secular solidarity built on contribution instead of conformity. So we don't find belonging by sitting on the sidelines. We find it by getting into the flow. That's why I like to imagine this stuff as rivers of collaboration. These aren't fast lanes for leaders. They're open channels for anyone ready to help build what we're all becoming. And again, in a way that makes sense for you. And I really want to hype that so much. Again, yes, do we have some big roles that we do need people to fulfill, some roles that are high responsibility? Yes, but man, you'd be surprised at how many waxing on and waxing off. And the thing I love about wax on, wax off roles is that they're literally roles that anyone can do, almost anyone. Almost anyone. Some people got a resting bitch face that you can feel over the phone. And so you want to give them a different assignment. All right. That's free game. Free game. If you know you can feel the resting over the phone, don't put them on phone duty. See, that's the beautiful thing about being critical thinkers is we can think about stuff like that. No, I don't, but I want to do phone duty. How you gonna do it? How you gonna say it when you call them? Hey, why you come to the website? Yeah, see, no, we don't need you doing phone duty. Let's find something for you to do though. We're gonna find something, but we don't need you talking to. I mean, like for those of you that ever went to church, did you go to those churches where like the ushers was like mean as fuck and like would harass you to take gum out of your mouth? Like they ready to take gum out your mouth. Like everybody mean mugging you because they ain't never seen you before. Tell you a little secret about those churches. They ain't growing. Okay. Okay. You know, I'm tell you why Joel Osteen's church is so successful. Every motherfucker in there is every usher smile. Hello, welcome to Lakewood. So glad to see you. You know, all of that. Damn, they're singing. It's like the sound of music. Miss Mary Mack. Well, I think that was a little, you know, it's very interesting. It's unsettling sometimes. It's unsettling sometimes. All right, so now we can talk about the actual methodology. And this is the method behind the madness of Bridge City. The 4 key components of a Bridge City campus should be as follows. If you're a part of a Bridge City campus right now, that means everybody who's listening in Southern California and a few people who are listening from Austin, Texas, a few people listening from Charlotte, a few people listening from Atlanta, some folks in Chicago. These are the conversations you want to be a part of, right? The 4 key components of a Bridge City campus are groups. Everything starts with a group. Then teams, and the weekend experience, which is a local version of what we're doing right here. And please understand, this is tailored down because I'm sitting in front of a green screen and we don't have a band. Oh, trust me, just wait, just wait. When y'all see this thing in full effect, it's gonna. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Let me get back to my notes. Okay, so now this is not just random, right? This is how you grow as a community. You have nothing until you have a group of interested people. All right. When you're talking about community, and this is something, okay, I'm taking you back to my church planner days. All right. When I used to plant churches and when I used to train others to plant churches, I'd have many pastors, church planners come to me and say, I want to start a church and I want the church to be about this and I want it to be about that. And I'm like, okay, great. And we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we're going to get that building. And I'm like, great. And it says, we're going to solve this and we're going to solve that. And I'm like, great. And my question is, how many people are interested in doing this with you? Huh? How many people are interested in doing this with you? Oh, nobody. I just got the call from God. I had to dream about it and I prayed about it. And I was like, okay. All right. Well, you don't have a church yet. That's for damn sure. Sometimes y'all will hear me say that even about Bridge City Global. I think you'll hear me say, I'm like, oh, hey, we don't exist yet. Okay. This is pre-launch. No. But that's from my church planner days. It does not exist until you have a group of interested people. This is when you're talking about community. Actually, it's actually pretty much you talking about anything. Like you talking about business, you say you have a business. Like if you have a for-profit business, do you have customers? Do you have clients? Then you don't have a business yet. You have an idea that's untested. You know, you don't. Oh, here it is. You don't have enough information to have a business. Probably because you feel like you need to have the business before you start testing the product. This is so good. When in all actuality, you don't need the business to test the product, but you do need the product to support the business. And so you use the product to introduce to customers and you get the information from them about whether or not the product is valuable and how you need to tweak it. Community is the same way. Community is the same way. You can come up with all of these plans. Our community is going to do this. Nobody's here yet. So how you know that's what you're trying to tell other people what to do in advance, which means you don't understand the assignment. You're not trying to build a community, you're trying to build a cause. Damn it, I'm preaching good. No, you got to understand the assignment. You got to understand that. No, if I'm trying to build a community, the people who join it, especially that first group of interested people, they're going to play a major role in what that community is and able to do. Because remember, in this case, what is the product? The product is the community. And then someone will have to be responsible for managing that group. So the first group of any Bridge City campus, what do you think the first group of a Bridge City campus is? Do you think it's a book club group, like a reading group? Do you think it's a group maybe about parenting? What do you think the first group of a Bridge City campus is? If you're, let's just say you've tapped in to be a host, or you've tapped in to be a lead in somewhere like Oklahoma, Indiana, Kenya, wherever, and you say, okay, I heard Darante say we need groups, we need teams, we need a weekend experience, and we need mission. What should your first group be? An interest group. The first group should be an interest group. Why? Because you don't have a community yet. You have to build the community first. So your first group is an interest group. And it's a group of people who are interested in being a part of your local community. The first goal is to evolve that group from interest to mission. So an interest level where they're learning about what is this? What do we want to do? What can we do? What is this mission? What is this purpose? That's interest group. You're learning, you're determining. Do I want to be a part of this? Do I want to take the next step? Do I want to carry any type of burden of responsibility in this? Now, the goal is to evolve that from the interest group to a mission group where where the question is, now, what's the mission? What's the mission? What are we actually working on? What are we doing? Right? So we want to move from being just an interest group to actually being a group that is a mission group. And in this case, what would be their mission? What would be their mission? If the interest group was to learn about the Bridge City mission, if the interest group was to learn about whether or not they want to be a part of the local community, then what is the mission for? It's to build and become the local community. It's to build and become a Bridge City community, right? So at that moment, then we're not gathering just to feel good. We're gathering to do good. The meetings then should have a focus on the mission, where they shift from being about my pet peeve or my favorite project or whatever is going on to mission focus. So one of the things about community is you have to be intentional. All right. So it's not just another group chat, especially for as we're evolving, whether we're in Discord or we're in WhatsApp. I think y'all have heard me talk about Discord quite a bit. This is one of the reasons why we're kind of looking at some other platforms, because it just really attracts a space where people come just to talk, but with no intentionality behind it, right? So in a world filled with online spaces and casual connections, Bridge City's groups aren't just about hanging out or having surface conversations. They're missional, which means they exist with purpose, intention, and a shared commitment to growth or impact. A missional group is where values meet action, is where what we care about becomes what we build. Now, this is something I've been calling out in the secular community ever since I kind of stepped on the scene, is that there seems to be a high proclivity to call out things that we don't really care about. And I say the reason, well, I'd say we don't really care about them because we're talking about things that we have nothing to do about while overlooking things that we can do something about. And I'm like, I get it. But if nobody's doing anything about the things that we can do something about, when are those things ever going to get done? And if those things don't get done, when are you ever going to get people strong enough to be able to support the things that you want to support? I don't know. Maybe that's just me thinking. Maybe that's just me. But a missional group is where values meet action. If we care about this, then we're going to build on this, right? Not just talk about it. And then that should really guide the conversation. Missional means it's centered on a cause. This is where the cause come in. This is where the needs come in, or shared vision. So for the first group, the mission is to build and to become. But after the community established, that's when there could be as many groups as the membership can sustain. These could be deconstruction groups, mental health groups, neurodiversity groups, secular parenting groups, anti-racism groups, creative expression, or anything that aligns with our values. But you can't get there if we haven't went through the wax on and the wax off. It's guided by shared values, not shared beliefs. People don't need to think the same thing. They just need to care about the same direction. That makes it open but intentional. Can welcome new member but keeps a rhythm and a goal. So participation is then encouraged and purpose is clear. It's aimed at development, personal growth, group connection, or real world contribution. And ideally, all three. When you're thinking about the groups, you got to think, especially for the first group, it's so important. We're here for more than conversation. We're here for collaboration that reflects our mission. Dang, this is good. So having a mission doesn't limit the group, it liberates it. It gives focus, it builds momentum, and it makes sure the group doesn't just drift, but flows in a direction that matters. A missional group isn't just a social circle, it's a shared stream of impact. In Bridge City, groups become rivers when they help people move together with clarity, care, and commitment to something beyond themselves. Our SoCal crew is officially making the transition from interest to mission, and the evidence of this is their collaboration in launching this upcoming event. We're now in the process of identifying the first team. We have the first group. Now, out of that group, we need to pull together our first team. Remember the 4 components: groups, teams, weekend experience, mission. Now, behind every meaningful moment is a team making it possible. Teams are the engine of the ecosystems. So groups flow with shared interest and support. Teams are the structures that keep the Bridge City movement running. They're the people behind the live streams, crafting experiences, coordinating communications, and holding space for others. They're people who are managing details and designing growth. Teams aren't extras in the story. They're the reason the story keeps moving. Or they could be the reason that the story stalls. At Bridge City, a team is defined by a clear role or function within the community, ongoing collaboration around a specific task, goal, or event, accountability and flexibility, where everyone has a role, but we operate with care and not pressure. So where a group gathers for personal growth, a team exists for community impact. So starting with the first group, which is the interest group, that interest group, people are joining that interest group because they are personally interested in what they can get from Bridge City, and how Bridge City can benefit them. That makes it a group. This is about their personal growth. A team exists in existence that this team exists because Bridge City needs this to exist. Bridge City needs this to operate. Bridge City needs this to be sustainable. So a music team, the hospitality team, children's team, financial team, the multimedia team. There can be even a security team. Some teams operate quietly behind the scenes. Others are more visible, but all are vital. And just like we already know that what the first necessary group is, then we should know what the necessary team should be. And in that case, the core team or the community development team. This is we're building this first team in SoCal right now. This is the team that exists to take on the activities and the operations necessary to grow their group and team from one to many in support of promoting a regular weekend experience, which again, SoCal is doing it now. And it's beautiful to watch. So teams don't just execute tasks, they grow people. By being on a team, members learn how to collaborate with purpose, how to practice care without control, how to lead from any position, and how to contribute based on capacity, not guilt. In other words, teams are not just how we get things done, they're how we become the kind of people who can do more together. Bridge City teams don't just serve the movement, they shape it. If you're ready to grow, stretch, learn, or lead, chances are your next step starts with a group or a team in support of the mission. And that's the And now, because you know, because I just gave it to you, I did. Now, because you know what the first groups are, wherever you are, you should be looking at and being a part of a interest group, trying to start an interest group in your area, starting with WhatsApp. We have some people, they're busy right now because they're helping to plan our first official event. But we have some people in Southern California that would be very excited to talk to you about ways to get started. If you haven't tapped in yet, I'm encouraging you. If you're watching, if you stayed on to the end of this and Bridge City is something that you like, something that you're like, no, you know what? I think this is what I need in my life. This is something that I want in my life. Then I'm encouraging you to tap in. Our SoCal conversations have led to exploring ways that we can actually bring our global community together in one setting with the ability to engage, join a group, explore a team. For example, I talk about music a lot and what I see for our Bridge City campus weekend experiences. And because of that, I do get a lot of emails and people who tap in who are former or current church musicians who are looking for something just like this, but it hasn't popped off in their area yet. This new thing that we're looking at doing would allow everyone globally who's interested in being a part of a music team at a campus in their area to start gathering online in advance to share stories, ideas, song selections, and even have some shared sessions online with others from across the globe. We have people who've tapped in to host and lead campuses that don't exist yet. But with this new platform we're looking at, instead of just being on an email list or just hanging out in the Discord, they'll be able to have their own space to meet with other hosts and leads from the moment they tap in, allowing them to ask questions, workshop ideas, and even visit others who are already getting started. There is a method to my madness, y'all. The instructions seem simple. I know. Everything starts with a conversation. But in order to move from concept to capacity, we got to build those interest groups. And once we have those groups, we got to identify the teams who can continue the missional framework. And I know that this sounds so simple that it's complicated, but in all actuality, it's so complicated that it's simple. On the other side of this madness is new outcomes, new opportunities. I'm talking about careers that people never imagined for themselves, books that would have never been written, movies that would have never been made, industries that push humanity into abundance that would have never been imagined. When you empower people to see themselves differently, you empower them to see the world as it could be. If you're feeling this, tap in today. The link is in the description. Join this movement. And if you're really about that life, you need to register for Rise so you can meet me and the SoCal team in person. Let's build this movement together. That's not just about feeling good, but about actually doing good. And that's all I have for you today. Stay tuned for this commercial break and the end. When I think about what community is, when I think about what the church was for many people, I think about community as a service. I know so many people right now whose passion was media, and if it weren't for their church, they wouldn't be able to pursue that passion. I know so many people whose passion is music, and if it weren't for their church, they wouldn't have a place to practice that passion. I know people whose passion is communication and finding ways to inspire and motivate other people. And if it weren't for their churches,
Take another shot at me.
church shouldn't be the only place that meets those needs. It shouldn't be the only place that nurtures our gifts, platforms our voices, and empowers our living. That's why Bridge City Global is building community and creating the space to help you keep rising. Join us October 25th or the 26th in Venice or San Diego, your choice. Our local Bridge City community is having their initial liftoff weekend. And as a way of celebrating, we're hosting our very first Rise event. This is for you. We're about to shed the weight of limiting beliefs and open ourselves to clarity, purpose, and possibility. Through powerful voices and intentional community, you'll not only rediscover your own strength, but also the belonging that comes when we choose to rise side by side. And for those interested in being a part of this global community, go ahead and tap in now. And you may get an invite to our Friday evening and Sunday morning activities while you're in Cali. Don't miss this moment. Add Liftoff Weekend to your calendar and be ready to rise. Register now.
Take another shot at me.
Thank you for joining me for another Sunday Sessions today. I hope this conversation has cultivated both insight and inspiration for you and your journey. Please connect with someone before leaving because your relationships are the real strength and glue of this movement and community. Let's keep showing the world that we can provide inspiration, motivation, support, and transformation without superstition or coercion. Also, join us for next week for There's a Method to My Madness, Part 3 of Homecoming, where we're going to be focusing on the methodology of Bridge City Global. And I got a question for you. Where are you going to be in October? Now, if you're excited about the work we're doing with Bridge City, I'll tell you exactly where you should be. You should be tapping in, registering, and planning to join me in a weekend of community building and personal empowerment. I will be in Los Angeles and San Diego from October the 24th through the 26th working with our SoCal team. And if you're excited about that, register today. The link is in the description. What are you waiting on? Seating is limited. Get there. If you've tapped in to be a part of Bridge City, you don't want to miss this moment. Let's get there and feel what that collective effervescence of being community together actually feels like. And before you leave, explore the links in the description to find ways to connect, including joining Bridge City Global by enrolling in BC 101, joining my email list to stay updated on what I'm doing with DLDB World Group, or financially support the channel, the content, community, or the creator, that's me, through Patreon, YouTube, PayPal, CashApp, or Venmo, or you can even purchase something directly from Window Shop. If you want to support, we want to make it as easy as possible for you, because with the way that we're growing now, we need your support to sustain the load. Your financial gifts create the pillars that lift this bridge above the troubled waters. That's all for today, folks. I sincerely hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, until next time, keep rising and be the bridge.